We're going to kickstart this afternoon with optimizing aging with assistive technology. And I'd like to introduce Jeannie Kroll. She's an ASHA certified speech and language pathologist, a RESNA certified assistive technology professional, or ATP, and a certified aging in place specialist. She's worked with people of all ages and disabilities since 1991. Ms. Kroll spent the first part of her career working for a private practice as a speech pathologist, specializing in many areas in multiple settings to include clinics, schools, hospitals, and nursing homes. Currently, Ms. Kroll is an assistant executive director for North Dakota Assistive, formerly IPAD, the state's assistive technology program. Her work with North Dakota Assistive has focused on changing systems, educating, collaborating, advocating, and helping people with disabilities find life-changing assistive technology solutions to help them live, learn, work, and play. In addition, she is a 2019 Bush Foundation Fellow and serves as the chair of the National Association of Assistive Technology Act programs. A lot of acronyms in there, but I think we've got it. So I would like to okay, just go. What I'd like to do now is just thank Molly Kimmel here at the University of Montana, who is our director of Montech. And I always shout out to her because she's the only occupational therapist employed by the University of Montana at this time. So wherever Molly goes, I'd like to share that. So please help me welcoming Jeannie here to kickstart the afternoon session.
Thank you, guys. I love this stuff, and I've been doing it for more than half my life. And I hope by the end of this, you guys will love it too and understand how important it is, not just for people who are aging, but really everyone on the planet, because everyone is going to need it someday in their lives, or they're going to know someone who needs it. And so there's really no wrong audience for us to be presenting to or for you to share it with. And everybody has an aging someone in their life, or a child with a learning disability, or so on and so forth. And so that's kind of, we're already having a technology glitch. So I'm just going to use the.
The table's so loud.
I think we're having already having a good. I'll try that again. Yep. Oh, there we go. All right. I have no relevant financial relationships to disclose, and these are my objectives. Yes. Oh, yeah, sure. Maybe we can get this a little bit closer. Move this over a little bit. Oh, that does not move. Pardon me. Okay, how does this a little bit better?
Yes.
Okay. And my objectives, I'm not going to read them to you, but basically we want you to be able to understand how awesome assistive technology is to be able to help people live where they choose. And not just live independently and safely, but thrive while they're doing it, okay? And we're going to go just a few facts about assistive technology and aging, go through some cases that we've got people we worked with, and then go through some different types of assistive technology devices for independence and safety, to reduce caregiver workload and give caregiver peace of mind, very important, and provide monitoring of the person in need. So why the urgency? I think the people that have presented before me have shown some great statistics. But really our aging population is going to double in the United States, be over 83 million by 2050. It's already happening. In 2012, it was 43. In 2020, was estimated to be about 55 million. So this is really happening. It's not just a guess. And there's just more and more people every day. And nobody says, when I grow up, I want to live in the most restrictive environment ever. And I'm sorry for those of you that work in nursing homes, because we do work with people in nursing homes, and there's plenty of awesome things. But, you know, we don't want to send someone there if they don't need to be there. And we all know that. And just another look at how fast this is happening. And it's not happening at the same rate all over the United States. And you can see here, this is the percentage of change among adults 65 years and older, and the percentage of change in the population from 2010 to 2019. And you can see on the western half of the state, it's rising exponentially higher than the rest, especially in Montana. You can look in the western half of Montana. There's a significant change, about 30 to 60% of change in aging. And how does assistive technology fit into this? Well, it is the missing puzzle piece. And not everyone is going to need it in order to successfully age in place, but so many do, and it's so often missed. And for example, if you have everything in place for this individual with dementia, and you don't put an alarm on the door to, help them alert caregivers that they are eloping, you've missed the boat. And it just doesn't work without that piece of technology. So it really is a missing puzzle piece. And I want to do a simplified definition for you of assistive technology, so we're all on the same page. I think people call it adaptive technology. They call it many different things. And those helper things, those doodad and gadget things, those durable medical equipment, it's all assistive technology. And frankly, I don't care what you call it. They're devices for people to help them stay in their homes longer, and they can be anything. The term assistive technology kind of implies that it has to be plugged in or has a computer chip, but it absolutely does not. It could be Velcro, just to put the remote on the counter, I know, so that it doesn't go anywhere. Simple like that. This picture here shows an identical pepper and salt shaker. Can anybody tell me where the assistive technology is? It's the rubber band. It's hard to tell what that is, but it's a rubber band around one of them for somebody with a vision loss, so they can tell that it's something different. And they're told, that the pepper has the rubber band on it, and that's all you need. So they're not putting too much salt on their food by accident. I need it for me when I take my glasses off. I'm 2,800 in one eye and 2,900 in the other. I have a white bathtub, and I have white, shampoo and conditioner sitting in and if my daughter messes them up, I got to get it this close in order to be able to tell. I really should use a rubber band. Do I? No, but I could. So there are 10 federal categories that we use under the Assistive Technology Act, which is where Molly and I get our funding for our programs, one of the sources. And we're going to talk about the daily living, learning, memory, and cognition, and environmental modifications. So, and I apologize, my fonts on my slides got all messed up. You'll notice when you go to download my presentation, it looks a lot different. So go by that. I wasn't able to change them all back in time. So, and today we're going to talk about under those categories: safety and home monitoring, memory and cognitive loss, controlling the environment independently, and social isolation. And just a few reminders: assistive technology is not a magic wand. It's not going to cure everything. And if the person doesn't want it, it's definitely not going to be good for them. More is not better. You don't want to introduce 10,000 things at once, one thing at a time. And it's better to make use of the assistive technology that they may already have and maybe teach them how to use it better. So there are a lot of different things there. And remembering to getting the assistive technology is not the goal. That's about 5%. And many times people think it is the goal because it's so hard to get sometimes because of funding issues. They forget the most important part, and training the person how to use it and installing it correctly and making sure there's a support team when things go wrong. And of course, the gaining independence is really the ultimate goal here. And we also don't want to match the equipment. I say match the equipment needs to the iPad. And because I remember when the iPad first came out in 2010, that all these parents with the kids kids who had autistic children were coming to us and saying, here, I bought an iPad, now make it work for my kid. And that's really and sometimes it did work, but we really want to take a step back and look at the individual's needs first and then apply the assistive technology. And it's really the same diagnostic principles that you would use anywhere. All right, just going to get a drink of water here, and we're going to talk about our first case. So we have an individual that we worked with who's transitioning to an apartment, and she had a lot, we did a big background on her and figured out her goals. And she was transitioning back home from a nursing home and needed to reduce the staff time because there just wasn't enough staff, as we know. It's a big staffing shortage. And she opens the door to everyone because she's lonely. But yet she's also afraid of everyone. And so it's kind of a conflict there. And there's many other things, but she also had some experience with an Echo Show using it at the nursing home. And again, many other things, but those are just some of the pertinent ones. And so what we set up was a test and alarm system, and it's similar. This is an alarm system here. And have a little hub that's plugged in, and then you have little door sensors. This one is more for a hallway, but you can have ones where the one part is on the door and one part is on the doorway, and when it separates, it sends off a signal to the caregiver that they know that the door was open. And this happened to be a place for individuals. There was several people in the building. And so there was always a staff person on site. And so they were able to run upstairs and go see what this person was doing, just making sure they were safe. Yet they didn't have to be in her apartment hovering. And so that was nice. And then we also got her an Echo Show, which is a smart assistant with a display on it that allowed them to do drop-in calls. Is everybody here familiar with the Echo Show? Okay. Well, I will be demonstrating in just a little bit here. It's this big giant thing, and there's a picture of it. And this is just one of the versions. There's many different sizes. And we'll look at it in a little bit here. But the Echo Show allows you to do drop-in calling, which is really cool. And for people who have forgotten how to, maybe they can't answer a video call and don't know how to initiate one, the drop-in call. So I'm the care provider, and I've got an individual who has issues where they can't initiate or answer a call. I say, Alexa, she's going to answer me now. Go away. I'll just say, Echo, drop in on mom. And then it will just, on the other end, it will just fade into into her apartment, and my face will be there, and I can talk to her. She doesn't have to answer or anything. And if she's not in front of the screen, because it does have a camera, then I can shout through most small apartments. They'll be able to hear you. Say, hey, mom, I'm here to have a conversation, things like that. And it works really slick. And we used it a lot in a lot of different nursing homes to reduce social isolation, which we'll talk about later. And this reduced her staff time, just those two little things. I think it was a total of like $300 worth of equipment, reduced her staff time by 2 to 3 hours a day so far. I've started out with 1, and we're down to 2 to 3 hours, and I haven't checked in lately to see how where they're at now. But that's just fantastic and quite an investment, return on investment. I better put these back for you, Mom. All over the place. All right. This next case is an individual with quadriplegia, and he had great cognitive skills, a great voice, and had staff coming in all the time doing everything for him because he couldn't move from the neck down. And frankly, he was kind of tired of it, and having to ask them to do everything from itching his nose to turning a page of a book to flipping the channel. I mean, can you imagine surfing with somebody and the other person has the control saying, switch it, switch it. I mean, that's just, I can't imagine that. And so these were some of his things he wanted to be able to control whether or not he was hot or cold, and thermostat and a fan. And when staff left at night, he wanted to be able to check out noises in his environment. And can you imagine being in bed and you hear a noise in your house and you can't go see what it is? I mean, some of you may not want to, but that's the kind of peace of mind, just as the person with a disability they need, and so many other things. So we put together a smart home package for him with an Echo Show, an Echo Dot, so he could talk to wherever he was. If he was in the living room, he could, you know, ask it to do things and turn on lights and all kinds of things. And then we put cameras in different places too, because when his staff were there, he wanted to be able to see what his staff were doing, especially if they were new staff. I mean, can you imagine if you have brand new people coming into your home and they were, you know, you could hear them doing things and you really couldn't see what they were doing. So I think somebody wants to participate. Anyways, and so we put cameras up, and then we also wanted to be able to see outside. So we put cameras outside. By the time we were done, he really had control of his own life and finally didn't have staff hovering. He could mainly surf the internet and then surf the TV and surf channel surf. There we go. He was just surfing all day. And he could even contribute too. He was able to build shopping lists on Amazon and add things when he wanted to add them. Just simple things. Here's an example. Alexa, add eggs to my shopping list.
I put eggs on your shopping list.
As simple as that. I use that all the time. I'm putting my milk away into the garbage, the container, and then I'm adding it to the shopping list. It's a very simple thing, but hey, it changed my life. That's very cool stuff. All right, this next one is an elderly lady with advanced dementia. And she was living in assisted living, and her family was coming over every single day to help. She had, oh, and you can't even see this because my picture disappeared. Well, you'll have to look at the slide. Slides that are on Ventla. And they basically wanted to use smart home stuff to keep her connected and give her something to do, because a couple of times they'd come over, and because she lost her ability to understand how the remote worked. She lost her ability to do so many things. She didn't know how to answer the phone anymore or dial, and couldn't even turn on the radio or anything like that. So sometimes they'd come in and she was just sitting and staring at the wall. And so they wanted to provide this wonderful environment for her. And so we did that through smart home technology. And you're asking maybe, well, she's not going to be able to say Alexa and do this, do that. She can't learn at this stage. And you're right, she couldn't. But what we can do is kind of the reverse. And we can set up Alexa and other devices like it to do things for her automatically. And so we set up lamps in her room and with smart plugs, and so that it would turn on and turn off. So she'd understand when it was daylight and when it was nighttime. And then they were actually programming her TV from the adult daughter was changing channels and from where she was in her own house. And it's like, I think Mom should watch this show today. And then always putting the night news on and for her, because that was something she remembered. And so she always had that on. Just familiar music. And I'm sure many of you have worked with people with dementia. You know how important having music is to those from their era when they grew up, and how it can make them lucid for periods of time. And you can easily do that with Alexa and many other devices. Of course, they use the Echo Show for drop-in video calls. And so they were able to communicate with their mom that way periodically during the day. She was still able to read, the mom. And so on the Echo Show, she put in different calendar items on there so she could know when it was time to go play bingo or whatever down, and time to go eat and things like that. And then the pictures of her family were displayed. So it's pretty cool stuff. So this woman is continuing after 5 months of assistive technology intervention. She's continuing to live on her own in the assisted living apartment. And even though with advanced dementia, she's not in the memory care wing yet. And so this is pretty cool. So I did a cost savings analysis. We spent about $800 on the assistive technology. It doesn't include our price of our services, which wasn't a ton. And then in 5 months, I figured out based on the average amount of nursing home care in North Dakota. And just in 5 months, we saved over $52,000. I mean, can you imagine that? Most people don't have $52,000 in their savings account. So right now, the average cost per year, just to give you a better example, is $128,000 a year. And that's minimal care. You know, it's up to 300 and some thousand if you need full 24-hour care. And, but the cost of this AT intervention at a personal level is really priceless. And because her mom is going to live a little bit longer and be a lot happier where she's at. All right. This individual is actually my boss's, was actually my boss's father. And every night my boss or his brothers would go over and feed their dad, and he hated it. He loved seeing his kids, but having your kid feed you is probably one of the worst things, so I've been told, because it makes you feel like you're a 2-year-old again, and it's just not a good position to be in. So this man's only wish at this stage in his life was to be able to feed himself. And so simple adaptive utensils, and you can't see it there, but he's got a plate guard around the plate, and so that he can shove the food up against that. And that's all he needed, and he was able to feed himself. It just had never been recommended, and our boss actually just started, and he didn't know about this stuff. That was the first thing he did when he became part of our company was, I'm taking this for my dad to try out, you know. And he just was like, this is just life-changing for him. And it may seem so small, but that man was so depressed because of having someone feed him. It made a huge difference in his life. And he was able to stay at home for 2 more years before hospice, and he just passed away just a couple of weeks ago. The last one is medication management. And this is one of my favorite stories. It's one of the oldest ones that I have. And this woman was admitted several times due to over-medicating herself. And she was in what was to be her last hospital discharge care plan meeting. And she was going to be discharged to the nursing home. They thought, she has to be. And the speech path that was there knew me. And I think she was new to this case. And she went, why aren't you calling North Dakota Assistive? They have block medication dispensers, and they can give you for free. And that's what this is right here. This is the MedReady. And it is $150 device. And it has 28 spaces for medication. It can fit about 9 M&Ms. That's how big each little space is. It kind of looks like the device that Molly gave us here. And open. I have not seen this device. Oh, okay. I was just gonna, I see it's screwed. I need a key. So it looks just like this. It's a lot bigger. It's about the size of a dinner plate. But when the person needs their meds, that one it scoop up, the alarm goes off, and it turns one pie space, and you're able to scoop your meds out. And now it's not going to put the meds in the mouth, and it's not going to prevent them from leaving piles all over. So you really have to do your assessment first and see if this is, what device the person needs and if it's going to work. And anyways, so they got this device for this lady. She went home, lived in her apartment, and I forgot all about it. 10 years later, this lady, the speech pathologist saw me for another reason. She goes, you know that lady? I'm like, what lady? And you know that lady we worked with and got her that medication dispenser, and you have to realize our program hands out thousands of these. So like, not really. Well, it was a lady we worked with. And 10 years, Jeannie, she's been living in her home, and she's still in her home. And I did the math on that. And at the time, and it was over $1 million saved. And think about how much happier she is in her home. And I have no idea. That encounter with the speech path was about 5 years ago. So I don't know if she's still in her home, but 10 years. Pretty cool story.
How much do those cost?
Well, I don't know how much this one costs. I have never, about $150. Yeah. And if you ever want any of these devices, information on any of them, just give me a call. Most of them can be Googled, but just by putting the name into Google. I didn't put links in because the links to these change so many times. So just gave you the name. And so we're just going to talk a little bit about smart homes so you understand it a little bit better. How many of you have smart home stuff in your house? Some Alexas, smart plugs, things like that? Cool, cool. And obviously I can't see anybody else other than you guys in Missoula, but it's pretty cool stuff. And I started out with just an Amazon Echo Tower because I wanted a really good speaker in 2014, and it was cheap, and started out, now my entire house is filled with it. And in order to have a successful smart home, you really need a strong Wi-Fi connection, and you are going to need a smartphone or a tablet, but it doesn't have to be the user's tablet. So like in the case of that older lady that we talked about with dementia, she isn't using a smartphone, of course, but her family is using it, and it's just usually just for setup and getting things going, because it has to belong to an account. And then some smart devices require being able to connect to the actual router in your house. So which is fine in most cases, but if you're in an assisted living facility or in an apartment and you're using the guest Wi-Fi, that could be an issue. So you might want to look at things like that. I'm not going to go into a ton about this, but our company is putting out free webinars on smart home products and routines and all kinds of different things. And there's some saved to our website. And if you'd like to view any of those, please let me know and I'll get you the information. And the most important thing for running a successful smart home is designating 1 or 2 people to be that person who's going to do the updates. I mean, how many times have you used your phone and said, do updates, and you don't do them? And then you wonder why something doesn't work. Well, you need somebody to be doing that for the smart home stuff too. And troubleshooting, installing batteries when there's a power outage, is it still working? Things like that. So what can be controlled with a smart home? A ton of things. And this list is growing more and more every day. Just when I think, oh no, they won't be able to do that. Oh boy, it's actually added. And it's in a surprising amount of things. We just got a new fridge and I saw that it was smart, but I don't need a smart fridge, so I didn't really pay attention to it. And I kind of wondered, how is this going to benefit somebody with a disability? Well, I found out in the first week because I got a notification on my phone that told me how many times I opened my fridge. And then it told me how many glasses of water I got out of my thing. So think about that for monitoring, and think about, your mom's opening the fridge and getting food. And so it's a perfect way to figure that type of thing out. But just cameras, locks and doors and faucets, tons of things. So these are for somebody who maybe wants to be more independent, being able to actually control these things, to just like that one gentleman who was a quadriplegic. Okay. Now in the reverse, we can use these same devices for monitoring someone and monitoring whether or not they're, opening their doors and their windows, getting in and out of bed, smoke alarms and fire alarms, medication intake, even smart toothbrushes, all kinds of different things to monitor how they brush their teeth. And I was just had the opportunity in a couple of weeks ago, and I threw this in here because I want you guys all to go out after this presentation and go to this website. There's a wonderful smart home where 4 gentlemen live, and it's this picture of this beautiful home. And each person has over 100 different assistive technology or smart technology devices that help them be independent. And these were all, I believe, people who were in institutions, and they came to live independently with minimal staff. I don't have enough time to go in it, but I thought it was just so cool. They have a virtual tour, so you can tour throughout the whole house, and there's some videos on how they've made their home smart. And so please do that. So now we talked about with the lady with dementia, we talked about how they were using some routines and things to control her house. And actually, I'm going to advance just a little bit so you can see, this is a demonstration of a routine. This is in our bedroom at, not my personal bedroom, but my bedroom in, at our center. Hey, Google. Good morning.
Hi. It's 1:26 p.m. Currently in Fargo, it's 58 degrees and sunny. Today, it'll be sunny with a forecasted high of 60 and a low of 34. Have a wonderful day.
All right, and it's playing music. So just with one command, I made 4 things happen. I made the blinds, the smart blinds go up. I had, he greeted me and told me I was gonna have a wonderful day. He told me the weather, so I wear the right clothes. And he's playing some happy music. So I get up in the morning and I'm happy. And so it can be all kinds of different things. When she also has a routine that when we say goodnight, she turns on the white noise machine and does all kinds of different things. And it could be anything. The first time I discovered a routine was when my coworker played a trick on me, and she put a door sensor on a drawer, and I was giving a tour. I had I don't know how many OTs in my office or in the center. And I was like, see, and this does this, and the blender came on. And I'm just like, what the heck? And so there's just a lot of, and it's like, okay, haha, funny. And, but there's just, I mean, you can play tricks on people. We did that with my daughter when we first got smart lights, but, so there's some fun things you can do, but a lot of them are more practical. But those are the routines, helping. This one right here is, maybe you have somebody who, when they get home, they're able to go shopping and things like that. But when they get home, they forget what the next thing is that they have to do. And so we did a routine, and it was triggered by GPS. And so she didn't have to do any commands or remember anything. The minute that person walked in to her home, it automatically texted her daughter that she was okay and she had arrived okay. How many of you would like that in your life? Just to know, I mean, and I always have my phone muted, and then nobody can get a hold of me. And just having a routine that unmutes your phone would be great, right? And then this one goes, it texts the daughter, it turns the lights on, turns up the heat, and then it gives her a reminder that she's supposed to do laundry and things like that. So there's just a lot of different things that can be set up with routines. And my coworker, Courtney, she's doing a training just on how to do routines. And that was just last week, actually. And there's a recording of it on our website if you'd like to see that. I'm gonna go back here and make sure I didn't miss anything. So really with smart home devices, the only limitation is really your imagination. There's so many cool things that you can do, and that list gets longer every day. All right. So as we talked about, there's a lot of different things here for independence, and tells you when your package is arriving. I've actually synced this up to my, yeah, sure. Sync this up to my house, and we can get it. Alexa, turn on mood lights. So it just turned on all my little twinkle lights in my backyard. So my husband's probably going, oh yeah, she's giving a presentation again. I do this a lot. And I'm trying to think of what else. And they already had me do eggs. Alexa, play me a joke. Alexa, tell me a joke.
What did the taco say to the sad burrito? We've all been there.
Oh, geez. So there's a lot of different things you can do with this. Thank you, Molly. And I want to show you, so if you can't speak to Alexa, another thing that you can do, oops, there is a word problem here. There's an interface on Alexa, so I can see everything that I can control in my house. So if I can't speak well, maybe because of Parkinson's or whatever, I can just push a button. And if I can't push a button, As long as I have a voluntary movement, I can, an assistive technology specialist like Molly or myself can set up a switch, or eye gaze or something for you to be able to interact with the device. And if you don't have a voice, also, you can also use a communication device to speak for you to Alexa. And that really does work. So again, you can control anything. One of the most important things that we want people to do when they really can't get to the door and things like that and unlock the door for their caregivers is to put in a smart lock, because so many times they leave their doors unlocked because they don't want to give people their keys, right? So if we give them a smart lock, then all we have to do is give the person a code. And when they're fired or they leave, we can just change the code. And so that's just so important. There's a place that I go to in Fargo, and it's a high rise for people with disabilities. And every single door is open, and or at least it used to be. And now most of them have smart locks on their doors now. So important. And I wanted to point out this one here. This is the SwitchBot. You can see my mouse. It's this one right here. Can you guys see my mouse moving? Yeah. All right. So what we have had trouble in the past are making physical buttons smart. And so think about the intercom that many people have in their homes. And I've been looking for ways to make them smart for years. And this thing is called the SwitchBot, and you put it over, it's a smart device, and you put it over a physical switch, like an intercom system to open the door for someone. And then you can activate it with Alexa, or you can activate it on your phone with the app. And then you just push the button here, and that it actually has a mechanical switch in it that actually moves it. And it doesn't work with every button, obviously, but it works with a lot of them. And these pictures are from my coworker's mom, who has dementia, who is still living in an apartment. And she's able to control some of the things from her home. So my coworker actually pushes the button to start the coffee maker because her mom has forgotten how to do it. So her mom wakes up to great smelling coffee every morning. So, and then can also open the door for herself when she visits. Shades and blinds, music, just being able to control your floor cleaning, all kinds of fun things. This is a picture of my Google Nest app here. And then on the flip side, lots of different things for elopement. There's smart devices. Oops, I left one in my backpack, I see now. And this one here is for a great thing for monitoring. And these were in that lad home that I was talking about. I'm hoping everybody can see this. This is a smart display. Put it on the menu here. It helps somebody figure out what's happening today. It connects not only to the user who lives in the place, but it also sends signals, and there's an interface on the other end for the care provider, and they can put different activities in there. And they can monitor all the smart home stuff, and it's a paid service. We don't have it in our center, but this happens to be Molly's. And you can probably learn a little bit more when you go to that video. But it's a very nice system. And I don't know, Molly, what's your take on it? Do you like it?
I love it. I love it. I'll just show it to the camera. So they
Oh,
can get it.
perfect. Thanks. Wonderful. And so some of these, for elopement, some of these alarms are smart, some are not smart. This ring here, this ring system that you see up there, the ring security system, it can be a paid system or it can be a not paid system. It's really a full inclusive system. We got it for $250 on Costco. Basically put different controllers on the doors and the windows, and has a camera system and then a touchpad. So the person can't just pull off the alarms, and like some might, because then that's going to set off the alarm that they would have to know the code to be able to turn off. And so it helps a little bit there. Then when there's motion detectors and cameras, of course, that we talked about, many times you don't need a camera because it really is an invasion of privacy. So really think before you add a camera. And if you do have to add a camera, there's this new one out, the UltraView, and it turns people into stick figures. And so you're not, you know, invading their privacy, especially if you have other staff other than family members, you know, checking it out. So I haven't gotten to see this in action, but when I saw it on Amazon, I was like, oh, that's so cool. And but then there's trackers. We get calls about trackers all the time, and it's very hard to keep up because they change weekly, I feel. Something that you were recommending for years is then just gone. And so people say, why can't you just give us a list? And it's like, because that list would be old in a week. And plus you don't want to really put out a list. You want to know the person's abilities first before you recommend the equipment. And we need to know, you know, will they wear a watch? Does it have to be in a pocket behind them so they can't take it off? Just all kinds of different things. You want to know what the app looks like. And if it can be, if it's a good one that allows you to track. There's some that go on the Verizon plans and on the T-Mobile plans. This one down here is a tracker, a GPS tracker and reminder, and does many other things. And that one is through T-Mobile. And so it's just you pay for the watch, and then it's just an extra $5 or $10 a month. And so, which is pretty cool. Personal alert, emergency alerting systems. This I probably don't have to tell you about. These have been around for a very long time. There's cellular ones, there's landline ones. My favorite one here is using the watch, that the Galaxy 4 watch now, and the Apple Watch. I've got the Galaxy 4 watch, and it has fall detection. Both of them do. The Apple Watch calls 911 and then text your friends. This one just text your friends. And I was testing it out the other day, and I hit the 3 buttons, and then somebody interrupted me and I forgot I'd set it off. And it started texting my family. And I do this a lot, so they weren't too concerned, but my husband got back to me right away. He's like, "You're okay?" "No, just testing equipment, sorry." And my daughter, she was in class, she didn't respond till later. And my son, my oldest son, my 31-year-old son, decided that this was funny because I do it. And he sent me a text back with a link to a YouTube video from Sting, sending out an SOS. And yeah, and then he asked if I was okay, just in case. But these things really do work. Not everybody can handle a Galaxy Watch, and so you really got to know who you're working with and stuff like that. But these are just some good examples. And then there's smart toothbrushes and floor sensors, appliances like we talked about, putting, you know, those sensors on cabinets and things, just so you know, like that may be all you need. Put a sensor on the fridge, put a sensor on the bathroom door, and a sensor on the maybe the patio door. And that's all you need to get alerts from. And if you aren't getting any alerts, get over there quickly. And because it's either disconnected or that your mom hasn't gotten up all day. And there has to be a reason for that. So that's how great that's all you need sometimes. So really cool. And obviously monitoring vitals. And especially like just being able to monitor fluid just with a smart scale. Many people can't see the scale either because of vision loss or because they're overweight, and just having a smart, just getting on it and waiting a few minutes can send the app, put the numbers in the app, which can be then sent to a relative to check if you can't see the phone either. So many different things, flood alarms, automatic stove shutoffs, all kinds of things. And then medication management is a big one. We've already talked about this a little bit. There's many different types of devices. Some are smart, some are not, some are locked, and some people just need an app. My daughter started a new medication, and she's like, "Mom, how am I going to remember this? I have to take this at so many odd times during the day." And I said, "Oh, I got it. There's a free app called MediSafe. And it allows her, it tells her when she's supposed to take her meds. If she had several, it would show not just the one she has to take, but it would show her the shape and everything. It would tell her when she needs to refill, because you actually input how many you have left in there when you add a new med. And then the best part is it will text your med buddy when you have forgotten to take your meds. And then that person can call and say, hey, take your meds. I'm gonna sit here on the phone until you take your meds. So it knows you've taken your meds because you push a button. So if you don't push that button, the person gets a text. And this really does work, excuse me. There's different types of identification bracelets and different ways to communicate with people over the phone when they maybe don't remember how to use a standard telephone. And there's a picture of me and my husband doing that drop-in calling that we've been talking about. So I dropped in on him and I was able to see him and there's actually a little video of it on our website. And the RAS memory phone, for example, is a smartphone, but it only does just what you see there. That person can call those 6 people and dial 911, and that's it. And those are also the only 6 people they can call then. So then they're not responding to telemarketers and ordering things they shouldn't be on QVC, Mom, and, you know, all kinds of different things. And so, and then orientation and transition. This grant here that we talked about is great for orientation and telling the person what's going to happen next, that transition from activity to activity, transition from caregiver to caregiver, very important. Could be a picture of which caregiver is coming at 4 o'clock and be really important. This little clock right here comes in all sizes. I can't, you know, will it still show?
No.
But it's just a simple clock that just, and there's a picture of it on there. And that one that I have there, just set this down. Oops, there it is again. You guys all see that? It just has a short cord, sorry. The one that I have on there is actually about this big. And so great for someone with a vision loss. And sometimes that's all a person needs. Just remember what day it is. Days kind of run together when you're home alone. And then the Echo Show now comes, this is an Echo Show, this is a 10-inch, and now they make a giant 15-inch, which allows you to put different things on there, very similar to a GrandCare. And it'll be a picture of who's coming in next, and just like we talked about, it could be a recipe that they're gonna have for dinner tonight, all kinds of different things. Could be a favorite joke, all kinds of things. There's a lot of devices. Do you have that electric plug lock? Okay.
It went up.
Popular device. This is one of my favorite devices, this electric plug lock here. It's about a $15 device and it fits on, like if you have a toaster, it fits on the plug of a toaster. And so you can lock it up so that person cannot plug it into a wall. Now they could break it off, of course, if they were strong, which some are, but then they can plug it in anyways because they break the tines off. So it's great because many people who have dementia don't want their stuff moved and they want it to look like it's always looked. And so if you start putting away all the things that they can't touch anymore, that's not gonna be good. And so this allows you to keep the appliances out there, but then they're not, you know, warming up their socks on the toaster, which we have had calls about. So, yeah. And one of my other favorite ones is this wall mural. And many people, we don't want them to go out the door, like the door to the garage, to the car that they still know how to drive. And, you know, so we will disguise the door because if we just lock it, that's going to be a problem because then they still know it's a door. But if you disguise the door and make it look like a bookshelf, that might be just enough, at least for a while anyways. Just giving some entertainment, being able to do simple TV remotes. This is the one for a large one, but this one right here is just does what you see there. Just power and volume and channel up and channel down. And there's just many different ones like that. The one button radio just does one thing and has one button, you know, being able to push so they can still do that and learn that. That could be a great source of entertainment for them. And last but not least, we have assistive technology for social isolation. And this is an individual we worked with during COVID. And the family was so distressed that they couldn't get to their mom. And they've been going there every day and talking to her, and their mom was going downhill fast. And she was not in a hospital bed. prior to COVID. And this device, I mean, they said it saved your mother's life. And just being able to do that drop-in calling every day. And then she got music and they put jokes on for her and all kinds of fun things. Just this one device really changed her life. And so then when that pandemic diminished, they were able to see her in person. And so it's a big deal. This is a gentleman who lives on his own and still lives on his own. And he couldn't get out as much. There's not a lot of transportation available to him in his small town. And so during the winter, there's not a lot of places for him to go. And he was really getting lonely. And he had a real hard time using a computer. So we simply just made his computer more accessible to him with some different devices. And that's all it took for him, because he wanted to get on Facebook and see his nieces and nephews. And a really cool guy, by the way. And EliQ is a brand new device that's out there. I wasn't able to bring her. She did not fit in my suitcase. But this device is similar to Alexa in the fact that it interacts with you and plays music and does a lot of the things that we've talked about with the Amazon Alexa, but it's is more proactive, and its sole goal is to get you to engage in life and make sure you're healthy and things like that. And now there's no sound on this video for some reason, but there's captions.
Good morning to you.
Oh,
I've got an inspiring quote for your morning.
correct me. There is
With
sound.
a new day comes new strength and new thoughts. Eleanor Roosevelt. How did you sleep last night?
Great, thank you for asking, Ellie. A good saying. We need to have some more of those. Eleanor was quite a lady. Ellie Q, let's have some more quotes as the day goes on, okay?
Did you sleep any better last night?
I did. I did sleep better. Thank you for remembering. Ellie Q, can you remind me every hour to wash my hands?
For a healthy lifestyle, you should drink 8 glasses of water per day. Be kind to yourself. Drink one now. I always like getting your feedback. So, tell me.
I'm just going to pause for a second. So these individuals, this was during a pilot, and these individuals allowed cameras to be in their homes, and so we could really see how that company could really see how it worked. And I'll just play a few more here.
Did you enjoy this activity?
Very much. I needed to relax. Thank you.
I aim to please.
I know you do. Thank you. I gotta go. You relaxed me. That was perfect. That was perfect.
You were in school.
All right. This video is available on their website, and you can watch it some more, but it's so cool. And this is for people that may have lost their spouses or they don't have anybody at home. It's really meant for someone who doesn't have a companion in their home and really doesn't have any relatives close by. The state of New York is doing a pilot program, and their aging services department purchased, I don't remember how many they purchased, to try them out and see how well they work. We do a couple demo units, and we're just testing it out ourselves kind of before we start really recommending it. So it's very, very new. But I also anticipate that the Amazon people are going to get word of it, and she's already starting to do proactive things. She's suggesting would you like to hear some music today? I mean, I've had her, their words printed across the screen, but there's some similarities that were not there before. So maybe they'll buy the technology and it'll be in a piece of technology that everyone can easily have access to. Who knows? So, and Alexa can do some of those things for sure. And we've already, really explored those. And then some of my favorite things. So having pets is so important. We all know that. I know that maybe it was not really good for them because it might be might have them cause them to fall. But it's such an important thing for depression and companionship, social isolation. When they can no longer feed their pets and water their pets, which is, really important, there's automatic ones. And then when that doesn't work anymore, of course, we'll end with, oh, her name is Pearl, huh? Who's that? And is Pearl ready to go? She's up. We don't have one of these yet, so, all right. Oh, she's purring. And she's very spontaneous and will do things on her own, like if she hasn't been pet for a while, is that correct? And we'll just ask for attention, just like a regular cat would. And I actually find the cat, somebody showed it to us yeah, I know. And somebody showed it to us at a convention once, and I was like, oh my God, we have to have one of those. Everybody wanted to hold it. Thank goodness it wasn't real. And, I think this would help a lot of people, and they are using them in nursing homes and especially in memory care wards. And I actually like the cats better. The dogs are a little bit creepy for me, but they're just not making, this looks a little bit more realistic to me. If you saw the dogs, you maybe would agree. I don't know, but love the cat. I don't know what you think about Molly. Yeah. Yeah, okay. So really, if anybody that you know needs assistance, okay. Needs assistive technology, your state assistive technology, every state in all 6 territories have an assistive technology program. I'm the director of the North Dakota one, and Molly is the director of the Montana one. And we can be a great starting place for all of you. And the link to get to all the state programs is right there on the slide. And if they can't help you, they will connect you with somebody who can. And all my contact information is there. And I think we have just a couple minutes for questions.
Yes, we do. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask that Billings and Missoula hold off on questions so we can answer the questions that are coming through Bentla. Okay, so those questions. The first one, should one consult an occupational therapist to help determine what type of tech a customer can handle or operate? If not an OT, who should be consulted?
Oh, that's a really good question. I'm a speech pathologist. OTs and speech pathologists and PTs do work with assistive technology, but not all speech paths, OTs and PTs know about assistive technology. And in fact, it's rare unless they specialize in it. And they may know some forms, but they may not know half the things that we talked about here. And so that's a good question is, do you guys know about different types of assistive technology that can help somebody stay in their home longer? And if they're just listing off DME, then you might want to move on to somebody else. But just contacting your state program, you might come up with a list and then they'll be able to help you. We do assessments and we can do it ourselves. Not every state aid program does assessments, okay?
Very good.
Sue, this is Renee Billings.
Yes.
We had a question here asking about the toothbrush, the assistive toothbrush. How does that work?
Well, it was demonstrated to me when I went to the LAD home and I asked that same question. So I haven't actually gotten to see it in person, but it reminds you to brush. It keeps track of where you're brushing. So it will tell your care provider that you're ignoring parts of your teeth. So it must have some kind of technology that can detect where it's brushing. We don't rent those out, by the way, because yuck. But so I'm actually going to probably buy one for myself just to try it out. That's how a lot of technology gets in our center is that I try it out first, or one of my other coworkers do. And because we love this stuff, and it's like we see one thing and we've just got to have a geo.
Ours is called the Truth Brush.
The truth. Oh,
An attachment, so you can look.
Really? Okay, so there's not just smart toothbrushes, but there's attachments to regular old boring toothbrushes? Cool, all right.
Called the toothbrush, Renee, if somebody wants to look.
Yeah, I love that.
I know that there's a risk of in-home tech getting hacked. What is a good way of assuring a person that the smart devices are safe?
Oh, that's a really good question. I'm not sure that you can ever be sure that they're safe, but not using common passwords. This is the same old password thing that you've heard everywhere. And that starts with your router. So don't use the password. And so if your router is not safe because you've used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, then the rest of your smart home tech is not safe. And so it starts with that and then goes on from there. And I'm not sure I can go into how other ways other than that, but that's
Very good. What is the contact information for Molly? We do have that on the Ventla app. Montech is there. So that is on Montech. And
it's also on that link for all the assistive technology hack programs. Our information's on that as well.
and someone is asking from the perspective of an assisted living facility team member. Installation is great, but what support is there for facilities staff when items quit working?
That's a really good question. In some facilities, I've had everything from if they have an IT guy, it becomes that. I've had the janitor, because he simply likes tech as well. It just really depends on the facility. But you really do need to designate somebody to do it, or several people if they're all sick. And and sometimes with assisted living, it can be a family member joining with the staff. But a lot of training, a lot of notes and troubleshooting things should be left in the apartment. Lots of things like that can really, really help.
A training video.
We're doing a ton of those. Yeah. That's a good idea. Definitely.
All right. Yes.
If you're dealing with cognitive issues, people take a long time to learn procedures if they can learn them at all. So the earlier the better. Is really important. Also, I think the simpler the better, because I'm an OT. I've been, I struggle at 71 with this overwhelming amount of technology, and sometimes simpler is better. But some of our clients, especially if you're talking about a person with quadriplegia or something, they're going to be all over it. A lot of them, unless they had brain injury or something, but they'll be all over it. You've got to be kind of careful who. And so just because it's a good idea for some, I think you need somebody like Molly or to assess, okay, are they able to handle complex problem solving? Right? Because that's what this is. And so
absolutely,
I think it's so wonderful to have it. One of my other questions is families who live at a distance, whose moms are living alone. You see this all the time in our dementia, in our memory care program. And we got these families and they're like, how can we make sure mom's okay? Because she doesn't want to go anywhere, but it's not quite time. And she won't wear a life alert, or she won't do this, or she, whatever. And cameras in the house, and your point was well taken. Is there, just in terms of simpler kind of suggestions, if you got a 60-year-old or a 70-year-old daughter with a 98-year-old mother, you want to make sure that the skills. So
I mean, that's
I don't know if other people heard me, but
And do you want to recap that a minute?
Well, the second one, she was wondering about, how do you deal with individuals when they're from far away, where the caregivers are far away? What are some simple things to do? Is that what you're kind of asking?
Simple for starters, yeah.
I mean, when we sit down with a family and do an assessment, we're kind of looking at the whole picture. And we're not going to change their whole, but we look at the whole picture and then we're prioritizing. And we're maybe starting with one or two things. What's the most important thing? Well, I'm worried she's going to leave at night. And let's just put a simple alarm on the door. And let's see if you can get a hold of that. I'm working with the family right now. And it's right now. We have to do this now. And I said, well, we already know we need an alarm system for the door. And we ask a few questions and we just get it on the door. And then right away, because once they're gone, they're gone. and so that might be the only thing we start with. And then might come back later and do a bigger assessment. So it just really depends on where they're at. We meet them where they're at. If they are not familiar with technology, we're not going to go start putting in all the smart home stuff without some education for one thing. And certainly not with their blessing. We always want to put, just like you want to be in the least restrictive environment, you don't want to put higher tech in that's necessary. So if that makes sense.